everybody. Welcome to some Whispery Willow Fairy fun. Put on your fairy wings and let's get ready to make some magic happen. What we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to build a fairy display in your store. So we've started a little bit of it already, and what we did is we took an ordinary card table, just a square card table. We covered it with some brown craft paper that we just took off a big roll, any kind that you can find from a packing supply, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. We wadded it up, crumpled it up to give it kind of an old world leather look. And then we wrapped it around the table. We just taped it on here because we're not going to do a permanent display, but if you'd like it a little bit more permanent, you can go ahead and staple it on with a staple gun. And then we took, that's okay, that happens too, so that's just a little magic, very fun. So then we took a grass mat, and this again is something that you can buy at floral supply stores. It's just a long piece of mat. Sometimes they come in smaller squares. This one was actually a long piece that we cut. It's a little bit bigger than what we need, but that's okay because later I'm going to show you how to tuck and twist and make it kind of a little landscape for your fairies. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look at the different things that we pulled together, and these are all things that we found at like Hobby Lobby, Michael's, floral supply stores, the dollar stores, and even at like the Walmart, okay? How could I forget Walmart? So here we go. This is just some like twigs, and these come in bunches. These are just mahogany sticks, or if you have a backyard and you got this kind of stuff growing, go ahead and just pluck it out of there and you can bring that in for your fairy display. Then we've got a bag of green moss, and this is just again something that you can get for planters, inside planters. It comes in smaller bags as well. You don't really need this big size. And then we have ordinary plastic risers, which we will cover with the moss. And then we have a whole bunch of greenery that we've just pulled together, just different bits and pieces. It doesn't have to match because in the fairy forest, you know, there's all kinds of colors and textures. So the more the merrier. Add some little floral pieces, some berries. And then these are kind of cool. We found these at a floral supply store again. They're just moss-covered pots, or if you want to, you can use just like regular clay flower pots because they'll all get covered with the moss anyway. And then, kind of add a little bit of fun, we made a little bird nest, and we found these little eggs again at the craft store, and we just took some of our moss and we just kind of formed into a nest. And these are kind of fun and cute to just kind of tuck in little places. And then last but not least, just cheap old fruit, dollar store, you know, something fun and easy that you can stick in there. The Hodekins and Pixies love this kind of stuff, so anything like that. And then a few basic tools, staple gun, your pliers, scissors, and tape, and we are ready to go. So we've got our basic display set up. Then what we're going to do is we're going to start with our largest piece, and we're going to kind of build our display down, or if we're going to build it in the round, we might start this a little bit more towards the center, so that you don't necessarily have to build it up against the wall. You can actually build it out in the main floor of your store as well. And then you just use your pieces, all of the elements that we just talked about there, to kind of form your foreground, background, and middle grounds. And they don't have to necessarily just be as a riser like this. You can tip one over because then we can add some moss later, and they like to hide inside there. After you got like the basic risers placed in, then what you can do is you can take your sticks and twigs, pull these into your display, and again they just lay in there. And another thing that you can do, which I don't have here today, you can get the little pieces of foam that you put inside a flower pot to keep artificial flowers in place, and those you can just put a little block here and there and go ahead and stick those directly into that to kind of hold it more in place a little bit better, because today we're just going to kind of do a temporary thing to get you started. And like I said, there's no right way or wrong way to put these in. Just kind of build your display, build your texture, and add as few or as many as you'd like. The whole idea is that you get that forest feel, and they like to hide and get inside, and we'll cover all these like loose ends up with the moss so that all of that just kind of will blend together then in the end. Then after you've got like your basic sticks and twigs placed, then you're going to take your larger pieces, your larger floral pieces and greenery, and you're going to just start tucking that in. And just tuck it in between. You like let it hang down, let it become a part of the whole willow feel. trees and bushes, all kinds of fun fairy hiding places. Wrap it around. It's really, like I said, you can see I'm doing this pretty quickly, and I'm just kind of tucking it in and just creating this forest look. And if you think about it when you walk in the woods and like how, you know, things grow wild and it's all different colors, so that's the kind of look that you're trying to go for. And then you can have this is kind of a cool piece. It's a little bit more detailed, but you can use this. You can use wreaths that instead of it going on the wall is going to go actually on the base of your floor in the forest garden. And that kind of forms a fairy ring, which is always a cool thing to have. So you can see how it's kind of building and coming together. Adding some berries and flowers. Okay, so now we've got the basis for our fairy garden. And next what we're going to do, we'll add our little accent pieces. We'll just tuck those in. Our little bird's nest can kind of tuck in here. And then you can kind of just bring your display down and around. And then after you have this kind of stuff, you can kind of go back in and make a little bit more of a statement. So now, there we go. We've got the basic for our garden. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring the Whispering Willow Fairies in. And you want to start with your main focal piece. And that is Tatiana, in this case. And she's our 23-inch royal fairy. And these do all have faux mohair, so when you're setting them and actually working with your display, you kind of have to have it takes a little bit more time to get her just perfect, but it will happen and she will be beautiful once you got her all set up and ready to go. So, get her in there. And she's the one that's going to watch over the forest, so she's kind of the main focal point. Then you go to your next largest size, and these are the 15-inch. That's Morel and Diana for the collections that we have now. Okay, place them. So see how we're building our levels? And if we were doing this as a rounder, we would build all the way around. So she would be in the center, and then we would kind of build so that we're working the whole display. So whatever we're doing here in the front would be on the back as well. You could use different fairies, and we're going to add Shaylee and Olinda. And they like to hang on and grab onto things too, so, you know, steady themselves. Pose their, give them a little posable picture. Okay. And then what we'll do is we're going to add in our little mischievous pixies, our Hodikins in this case, Trixie and Huckleberry. And they're the ones that like to hide and get tucked in. So they like to be back here in the corner or back behind where, you know, they don't necessarily want to be right out there in the front. So kind of peeking around. We'll put her over here, kind of peeking out behind Linda with her key. And we'll add Brucey. We'll put him right here in the front. Kind of up in the trees and branches. And again, it's just a basic way that you can set it up. It's not, like I said, there's no right or wrong reason, so whatever you do is going to be perfect, and I'm sure will look just as magical. Then we'll pull in our little whispers, and they just can get tucked in there too. See how it kind of just holds them all in place? Yeah, as I say that, she's going to fall down. Get it in there. There's Lisa. She's going to sit. We're going to pull her back like that. And then we'll grab our little babies. And they can just tuck in all these little corners and nooks and crannies. And I'm doing this quickly, so you can spend a little bit more time on the placing them and getting their hair just right and their wings and costumes all perfect. And put a little teacup fairy right over here so that when Brucey, because you know the teacup and the spoon. And then we can add one of our fairy forest friend accents. This is the pot of gold. And we'll just tuck that in up here. She's kind of peeking over the branch looking at that. Okay? And then last but not least, you grab a little bit of your pixie dust and take a little bit in your hand, sprinkle it around, add a little magic. Voila! Whispering Willow Fairy. Excellent. Thanks so much.